beekeeping from our earliest days with what we would do, what we would feel if we were bees. Bees get angry. Bees sting because they're angry. Bees have a queen. Bees work hard. These are all human characteristics. The second thing I would leave you with, and this conversation that we would possibly not have next week, when you work bees, so much as you can, think like a bee. In every regard. Don't think like a human, because we are not the same. Inside this hive, I need you to help me because this thing may flip right off. The hive top opens like this. Inside the hive is this. An early queen excluder. You knock out these plugs, we'll go figure. The queen didn't want to move, the other three are plugged up. This was the earliest form of a queen excluder for holding the queen down below. And of course, it had to have glass walls because you needed to see what was going on. Well, all you see are bee butts and elbows. But if you didn't know anything about bees, sometimes you can learn from bee butts and elbows. So this, you can close it now. This contraption is the guts of the original design Langstroth hive. The Reverend Langstroth, how far is Oxford from here?
1 hour.
How far is Miami University from here?
1 hour.
1 hour. 1 hour from here, the Reverend Lorenzo Lorraine Langstroth had an epiphany, apparently while riding one day on a horse and carriage on the campus of Miami University at Oxford, Ohio. If you're new to beekeeping, sometimes take a Sunday afternoon drive and ride by his cottage on the campus. It's not open for touring, but there is a monument out front to his concept of bee space. And apparently, as I paraphrase history, he had an epiphany and saw the concept of bee space. 3/8 of an inch and greater, they put comb in. 1/4 inch to 3/16 of an inch and less, they put propolis in, if you're from Ohio. Propolis if you're from the southeast, or propolis if you're from the west coast. Put something there for sure. The space in between, 1/4 to roughly 3/8 of an inch, they left open. Bee space. Others were trying to have the idea. He had it first. He got it written up first. He gets credit for it first. So he had this concept of bee space. He designed his hive with the human attributes, the things that should work out reasonably well. And then he spent the rest of his living days trying to defend his patent. Because there's no bee supply companies to manufacture this thing. You wanted a beehive, you buy the right to use the patent, and you had a cabinet maker build these things. So in my museum, there's some that clearly indicate some cabinet makers have more skill than others. This is a remarkably nice hive that we haul around here for your benefit. This was the inside of the hive. So for those of you who are brand new to beekeeping, AI Root in Medina, Ohio, Ohio is just absolutely up to its nose in beekeeping history. It's a good thing. Can't live in the past. But we have a phenomenal history in beekeeping and beekeeping development. AI Root at the AI Root Bee Supply Company took this idea, the insides, and stripped it down, and from that made this. So this particular hive represents nothing more than Langstroth's insides to his particular hive early on. By doing it, because I can't pick this thing up. I can't pick that one up either. But I need help to haul this thing around with everything inside there. So he lightened it, he made it simple, and he made it useful for all of us. So the beehive in common use is basically still the inside structure, and at that point the argument began to fade away as to what type of hive, but what ended up coming around them was how many of these things to use, how deep, how long, how wide, same concept. But they would spend a great number of years arguing over what size to use. You still get 8-frame stuff if you shop around for it, but the jumbo depth stuff, the data depth stuff, that's all gone. And we're left now primarily with this particular size equipment. You're in transition. This catalog, since we're celebrating my 60th birthday in July, is from 1949. It's the closest one I could get from the Root Company. It was a good catalog. Two stark things in here. Absolutely no plastic. Now that's shocking when you pick up the new catalog from, I'm sorry, Kelly, Man Lake. Just a catalog I happen to have. I don't have a Kelly catalog. Has things changed? The second thing that's stark, not one chemical of any kind, not even paradichlorobenzene in 1949. But before you think, oh boy, those were the good days. In the 52, 53, 55 catalog, you could buy cyanide, you could buy methyl dichloride, you could buy stuff that will kill whole counties. And the intriguing thing was, and the one catalog I've got, it says, warning, potassium cyanide can kill you. Be careful. Now, times changed or not. No chemicals, no plastic. Full of chemicals, absolutely full of plastic. So whether or not we want to admit it, whether or not it annoys you, bothers you, or whatever, I came to beekeeping because of an old lifelong penchant for woodworking. And you look at this stuff and you think, well, I could build this thing. Yeah, well, you can. Go ahead and try that and get it out of your system. Because after you build a few of these things, it gets to be remarkably boring and monotonous. Give me a sign, would you, when I've got a few more minutes? It gets to be remarkably boring and monotonous when you do this thing over and over. This ain't no cherry highboy with a carved starburst front. No, and cabriole, no. Nothing. This is one